Welcome YouTube. This is Lord Zeth. I've got a very special replay for you. This is Sober. It's Soberholzer. Soberholzer.
Yes, yeah.
And let me turn you up too. By the way, he is one of my tier 2 Patreon members, and as such, he gets the ability to have replays covered off stream. So we're gonna go ahead and do that one right now. And he submitted a Chung Mu game on a ranked battle. Now, why the Chung Mu in ranked?
It's actually just because it's fun. I really like it with radar and yeah, so and
There's
it's quite good results, so that works out pretty well.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with saying, I like the ship, therefore I'm going to play it. And sometimes you find that certain ships will kind of just click with you, and Chungmu is definitely a favorite. I enjoy her a lot too. So I see you've got radio position, sorry, radio location, um, and you're going to head towards CCAP. This is the standard play. When there's two destroyers, you typically send one to each cap for that early point gain and that sort of thing. So that's pretty standard. Looking at your team, you've got an Iowa, a Palmer, a Richelieu, a Donskoy, a Malfi, Schultz, and yourself. Not a bad team. Iowa and Richelieu it really depends on how those ships are going to be played. I think they'll be okay. Now, then, of course, I look at your opponent. Your opponent has two Georgias, which immediately, I mean, those are really good battleships to have. Of course, it always comes down to the player, but generally speaking, I look at that and say, oh crap. Got a Monarch, a Neptune, which could be radar, could be smoke, a Prinz Eugen, which will have the heal, and could have German Hydro, which is 6 kilometer Hydro. Z44, which is like a discount Venom. It cranks out torpedoes, just not as rapidly as a Venom. Still a potential threat, does not have Hydro though. And a Kitakaze, which you never want to get into a one-on-one gunfight with a Kitakaze. So, all right. So,
Yeah, and so basically here I try to go up and spot something for the Amalfi and the Iowa behind me. And of course, if I see a DD, I hope that he smokes up.
absolutely. Because, oh, I just noticed you're playing a radar Chungmu. Okay. All right. So, the Chungmu can take that short duration or shortish duration smoke with pretty quick reload, or you can do radar. You've obviously picked radar. That reaches 7.5 kilometers. So if you do see a destroyer, preferably that Z44 by himself, he pops smoke, you pop your I win button, and you laugh. And I just realized I thought I had turned off Stream Raiders, but I guess I hadn't. Apologies for that noise. Okay. Um, I do want to comment on one thing right here, Sober, and that's when I play this side. Typically, I find myself preferring to go to the middle of the map. You can't see my cursor, probably, but E6 square and kind of work my way up in there, simply because I find I can spot ships that are heading towards A cap and ships that are heading towards B cap in the middle better than going up this channel. Um, it requires you communicate with whatever is support behind you and tell them, I'm going to spot mid, please don't go past like the 7 line, because if they go past the 7 line, they can't support you at all, right?
Yeah, so yeah, basically I don't really trust my team to help, and the idea was just to use this island so that I could get out
Hmm,
if something happens.
fair enough. I see a lot of Destroyer players play this way. So this is definitely not a knock at all. I'm just saying this is, when I generally
Yeah,
play, I find myself with the black especially preferring to go that way. But, oh, look at Georgia. Neat. Malfi is clicking on that particular part of the map. Now, Georgia on Monarch on the other side with the Eugen. So that means Neptune. That means the other Georgia is heading around the corner potentially. Now it just switched. So the question, of course, is that our Georgia? And the Iowa
I'll
Indians.
just not spoil what happens, but yeah, at this point I expecting it, so I'm kind of repositioning so that I could top the Georgia when it comes around.
Mm-hmm. Now you've got those deep water torpedoes that are relatively hard to detect. Oh, look, a Neptune. Just at his radar range. If he's got radar, you'll know it pretty soon here.
All forces, capture that area. All stations, reporting the position.
I have the same problem with that. I'll hit F3. I think something changed with the logic of hitting F3. Oh, congratulations, you're down a destroyer now. It's just you. Ah, hello, Z44. Unfortunately, you won't be able
Here
to...
I wait until it slows down enough so
Yep.
to pop radar.
Yep. You won't be able to surprise the Georgia, but that's okay. Now, I just want to pause for a sec right here. You popped your radar pretty much a second or two after the Z44 disappeared. I might recommend you hold another second or two. What you want is you want to get the Z44 to do the typical destroyer thing, which is when they pop smoke, they hit the S key and they start to reverse. So if you get them reversing in their own smoke and then you pop the radar, then they go, oh crap, he's a radar destroyer, hit the W key 4 times, and there's an additional 2 or 3 seconds where they have to transition from reverse to forward. It just makes it a lot easier to hit, and they can't be as evasive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Cool. Let's continue the match. Alright, you got the engine. He's on double fire, it looks like. The question is, will that be enough to kill him? And Nikita Kaze scores another kill on the other side. Oof. You are still taking up damage, fire damage, so good. George's plane is up, trying to spot you desperately. Neptune has...
Yeah,
No.
now comes about the moment where I'm a bit struggling with my decisions, so I would be...
Okay.
It would be interesting if you would also go for B, or... I mean, my idea was to get the cap as it's supposed to be free here,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not very sure if that was a good idea or not.
The only thing is you don't know where the Neptune is, but one, you've lost 2 ships on the other flank at this point. 2, you haven't seen radar from the Neptune, which might make you think that the Neptune is a smoke Neptune. So those factors together, plus you really can't do much against a Georgia that's going to shove into you like this. I definitely agree with going to B cap here.
So here I hope that I might later on get the top through or get in position. But
44 gets killed by the Amalfi, that's good. The Georgia is probably not going to give you a torpedo angle, unless he stops and reverses for some odd reason. He is up against an Iowa.
that
He's
was what
probably
I
going to...
was hoping for.
Yeah.
So
Now, you just looked around 3 times, and 3 times you clicked on the Georgia, which might tell him that there's a destroyer sending torpedoes his way. Fortunately, you've got the Iowa that's just kind of sitting there and holding him in position. So he's not really going to want to move much at all, which is great for your torpedoes. Full base cap, nice. Your Pommern and Donskoy are in full retreat of A, and their other Georgia is coming mid to support, so hopefully this other Georgia can die quickly. Only 2 torpedoes is unfortunate, but I do like that your Georgia is pretty much angling to both right now, so that's good.
So now my target was to deny them pushing in to B.
Absolutely. Oh! Hello! A wild
So yeah,
Kitakaze appears. Yep.
yeah,
Now,
hoping to bring him to smoke up as usually Kitakazes do, because if he goes full ham on me, I'm screwed anyway, and luckily he does not.
so the pause here could be because he is trying to get a torpedo on you. But his guns aren't turning at all.
Yeah, he's just bailing actually.
Okay.
But of course, yeah, at this time, yeah, I don't want to do the 101 against him.
Right.
So I turn off because if he decides to fight me, I guess I'm in pretty big troubles.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to get, what is it, C? A.
A. Yeah, at this point, uh, you might as well head to A, because if you stay at B, you'll probably just get spotted and killed as soon as you try to do some resets on the Kitakaze. The one nice thing is that with most of your team to the south, which you're clicking on now, you're to the north, so they have to pick one,
I,
right?
I kind of hope that the Pommern and the Donskoy figure out that they should not just go behind Iowa, but to get in some kind of crossfire positions, which was
They're in full retreat. I don't think they're thinking at all about crossfire. They're probably thinking of saving their
yeah,
ship till the end into their star.
yeah, but it's kind of a hope. And here I see that the Prinz Eugen kind of figured out what I might do. So it's
Yep,
I'm
very
not sure what they.
very smart for him. I would now turn back to B. Because if he has that German hydro at 6 km, then that spells trouble for you. Though that lasts, he just started turning south, so you might actually have a shot here.
And it's 3 minutes. So yeah, problem is I have to make something work. Otherwise we are screwed anyway. Even
Mm.
as the Iowa and Amalfi are now dead too.
Yep. It's unfortunate the Iowa wasn't able to finish off that lower health Georgia. Aha, and there's the Eugen again. So now if this Eugen is a good player, he knows that you are heading to A cap, which means he will block your attempt to get the point, so you're gonna have to hope that he has defensive fire and not hydroacoustic search, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean at this point I just hope that I get him somehow, because yeah, with torps, I mean open water gunfighting is not really an option.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think he can also kind of fast forward because there's
That's okay.
not so much happening anymore.
But that's one reason why I think when you had that decision point, going to B might have been the better choice. You'd already fought the Akizuki, or the Kitakaze once. He didn't seem to even care that you existed and were shooting him. Um, you never know. He might have gone back out again and going for the bait.
Sure.
Well, he's taken the bait. Oh my God, he's taken the bait. Only one torpedo, unfortunately, but still. Okay, so he does not have defensive fire. Obviously, he DCP'd that one flood.
Problem solved, sir. Engine boost deactivated.
You're trying to go dark now? Okay.
Yeah.
Good things and bad things about that. One, a good thing, of course, is better chance that you're going to survive this encounter. However, two, your Pommern is probably going to die pretty quick here. When that happens, your game will probably end. Oh! Oh, never mind. He got the Neptune. Unfortunately, he did not trade with the Georgia. Go figure. And that goes back to my earlier statement about seeing Georgias and being terrified. Because two Georgias pushing like that, it's extremely difficult for anybody to overcome that, really.
Yeah, and here I'm trying to figure out what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. And Chung now Eugen realizes now that you are radar. The Georgia other one died, and if you're lucky, the Donskoy will be able to get some resets. There's a reset, good. So that extends the game by about a minute. With his last known, it might be best to try to approach him from the right side, his front. He is Hydro, okay. Because if you approach from the rear, he can just hit W and go forward. And
I know it's basically I wait for him to get around the island, or I hope that he tries to get me.
looks like he is being aggressive. Georgia did not get in the cap, so you have 2 minutes now. Nope, he backed in. Hey, there he is. And of course, he knows that you've got Hydro on. Hit your engine boost, hit your DCP, and pray really, really fast. And... didn't get the kill.
Yeah, so basically you can fast forward. There's nothing really happening anymore.
Because we know that the game is now pretty much over. You're not going to take another fight with him. I mean, you could, because any extra hit that you do is going to get you a little more XP. But yeah, I see that Eugen played it very well. So nice job
So
there.
he zoned me fully out, and that's why I actually was a bit struggling with the game, because I think I didn't play that bad. And it's
No,
always these games that bug me somehow, because there's always something to do better, and it's actually why I
right.
sent this replay.
Well, there's two things that I can think of off the top of my head. We'll reload the replay and watch it again. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's. I have so many windows up. There it is. Okay. The first thing is kind of a nitpicky point, and then the second is, I think, an overall what-if situation. So let's take a look at this. Have you been enjoying ranked, by the way?
It's my way, actually my way to grind ships.
Yeah.
And
That's what I
just
do too.
grinding ship, I'm having around 65% win rate usually, so it gets some progress, and that's fine, good enough.
Okay, there you go. All right, fast forwarding a little bit. All right, so here we are coming up on the first point. And I
You're
think,
not sharing anymore at the moment.
oh, yeah, because it closed, and then I have to go back and reshare because I restarted the program. Cool. All right, sorry about that. I forgot. All right, yeah, are you with me? Okay. So I had already talked about holding on a couple of seconds before radaring to get that guy to start backing up and get a little too comfortable in his smoke before, you spring the trap on him. I think that we covered that already. He died anyway by the Amalfi, so I don't think that had much of an impact on the game other than you would have gotten a little bit more XP out of it. And who knows, you might have encouraged the Amalfi to play differently had that Z44 not survived. Who knows? Okay, so here's our first encounter, right? You wait for him to disappear. 1, 2, 3, 4. So by the 4th second, and you can see he's already hitting W again. He was going to hit S and stop, but then because you radared him, he hit the W key and ran away. So at this point now, you're in a gun duel with another destroyer. I would recommend you use your engine boost at this point. That gives you a little bit of extra jukey, makes it a little bit harder for you to get hit, and allows you to reposition quickly if necessary. So, like, that's my one piece of feedback there. You torque based off of the Georgia's line, thinking you weren't quite sure what he was doing. The problem with the Georgia, if you look at the Georgia's last known, he's angling at the island, which means he needs to either turn in or turn out. If he turns out, you should have aimed to the right of the white line. Obviously, if he turns in, you need to aim to the left of the white line. Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So, where you fired, which was along the white line of last known, you pretty much have a 0% chance of actually hitting those torpedoes. I think you would be better off thinking to yourself, what's the Georgia going to do? And guess either turn in or out. You didn't have a shot on out, so that would leave it turning in other words, cutting left of the target. In general, I find with torpedoes and destroyers, if I see a target that I think is going to maneuver, I will aim at about 50%, half the distance between the target and the white line. So half of that is where I'll aim. And I have much better success firing torpedoes that way.
Okay, yeah.
That was a quick heat of the moment thing. You lost sight on him, so it was kind of like a get him now kind of a deal. So I get it. The engine boost right now would come in really handy because it would allow you to get to B a lot quicker. And the Georgia wouldn't see you either, or he might see you, but less chance that he would detect you right here. He's got his plane up. If you watch the plane, you get a general idea of what the Georgia is doing because the plane circles over the ship in a complete circle. So 4 kilometer away, he's definitely coming closer to you. So engine boost, if you had gone farther north here, I think you would have been better off. You don't know if the Neptune is sitting here or not still. If he is still sitting here, the engine boost also allows you to get your ship turned quicker so that you could be bow into that Neptune.
Concentrate fire on the designated target.
I was actually expecting that I can stay hidden without, so now that he sees me, I used it.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, if he's charging you, then he's, because you can see that scout plane, you get a general idea of how far away he is. I believe the plane goes out like 1.5 kilometers from you, so he was 4 kilometer. That plane was 4 kilometer away from you, initially. So that means he's about 5.5 kilometers away. And since he's at Georgia, he's probably going to use his engine boost and just go full, YOLO into you, and that's exactly what he did. So that was the main thing, and then the other thing is right around here. When you started shooting that Kitakaze, and you noticed that Kitakaze didn't even seem to care that you existed, I would probably, after you dump your torps, because I can understand why you'd want to dump your torps, I would probably have not fired that salvo, and instead what I would have done is I would have cut north up to like B6. Because what you want to do is you want to shadow the destroyer support, which is going to be, at this time, the Monarch and the Georgia, and you want to see what the Monarch and Georgia are going to do. If the Monarch and Georgia stay with the Kitakaze, well, then you can't really get stuck into a gun duel with the Kita. But if the Monarch and the Georgia don't stay with their destroyer, you've got the ability to go in there and kill him in a one-on-one potentially with that radar, into the smoke if you get him to smoke up and stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was kind of afraid that if I get him, I mean, he will start to shoot back, and
Mm-hmm.
There's so many ships that one usually kind of spots me still,
Yep.
even if he smokes up, and yeah, with
Yep.
half health, if he wakes up, then I was expecting to lose. So that was
So at this point, it
why
would
I thought that they might abandon A, and I tried to get that one instead of B.
right. Um, you know, the I think here it's all about patience and finding that right moment to open up. Going back a few seconds, had you stopped shooting that Kitakaze when I recommended right after you dumped your torpedoes, you would probably not have taken that salvo from the Monarch. You'd be healthier and probably a little bit more willing to go in to a fight like that. Um, the other thing I want to mention is, as a destroyer, when you look at the minimap at this point, um, I generally don't like to waste the time it takes to go to the cap that looks like it might be free. Generally speaking, in a destroyer, I would much rather stay where the action is, in a sense. Try to get my torpedoes to hit things, try to use my guns, smoke if I have it, or radar if I have it, etc., etc. Going to A is pulling yourself out of the fight. You ended up fighting the Prinz Eugen because, of course, he went to A, right? But had he not gone to A, sure, you would have gotten a free cap. But because you're out of the fight, you can't do anything to stop the enemy team from bulldozing over your Iowa, Amalfi, and then later your Pommern and your Donskoy. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So this is something I learned the hard way a lot. Is generally speaking, it just takes too long to get to the other cap. So looping, if you had looped up like I had recommended to B6, you are in a perfect position to pounce on that Kitakaze should he go into B. Now I'm gonna play and fast forward. Just watch the mini map. Let's blow up the mini map here. Actually, I wonder if I can't hit the M key. So I'm gonna fast forward. Look at the Monarch and look at the Georgia. Those are the two main opponents that you have to worry about. Monarch is turning south, so you would have been relatively safe there. He might have gotten his butt turret on you. Eugen, of course, is heading in your direction, but he's already turning to A, so his guns may or may not be available to support the Kitakaze. If you were at B6, you could go right into B cap, start shooting that Kitakaze, get some base decaps. He smokes up. If you time it right, coming north of B cap, you'll get kind of behind that island. If you're lucky, behind that, it's hard to tell, right? Because the Eugen is heading north. But what I'm getting at is you might only be shot at by the Eugen and the Kita if you get spotted. But if you play it right and the Kita is based on his last known in the southern part of the cap, the Kita smokes, you might be able to use that smoke against him too.
Yep.
Georgia beached and he is reversing, so he can't help his teammate either, his Kitakaze teammate, which is good because you might end up with a situation where because you're up at B cap now they know you're there and they want you dead, so they all come right after you. And as you know, being a destroyer player, when you're kiting away in a destroyer, it's very advantageous to you, right? Because your torpedoes have longer range, you can use concealment against them, you've got the speed to get out of danger, etc., etc. So I think that's the other main thing that I would give you for feedback on that battle. Any other questions at all, or?
No, that's it. I was just thinking what would have been the better idea.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I don't know if it was winnable at all, but it was not that I felt playing so bad, but that's usually what I prefer as replays to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a really good one to talk through things. I mean, these are a lot of nuanced destroyer lessons that I've learned the hard way myself by playing ranked and other modes, you know. So, well, if you don't have any other questions, we'll go ahead and end the recording.
Yeah, that's fine for me.
Okay. So, Solberholzer, again, thank you very much for being a Tier 2 Patreon supporter. I really do appreciate it. If you've got other replays you want me to cover like this, by all means, send them my way, because I owe you a few from backlog, so it's not a problem. Just let me know, and we'll figure it out, all right?
Yeah, sure. If I have any more, then I'll send them.
Perfect. Those of you guys on YouTube watching, if you like what you see and would like some one-on-one support, like I've been helping Soberholzer, you're able to join my Patreon. Just look for me. It's patreon.com, I believe, /Lord_Zath, or just search for me there. All that good stuff. And I'd be very happy to help you. Like, hopefully I'm helping Soberholzer, okay? All right. See you guys.